Welcome back to our channel. I'm Dior.
And I'm IJ.
And I'm Uchenna.
And today we're going to review Ready to Love Season 4, Episode 10. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Instagram at The Real on The Real.
Girl, I already forgot
that. Okay, so let's get started.
Yes.
We're going to start off today with the elimination, which we don't usually do on these episodes, but they didn't give us the final results last time. So we have two guys in the bottom, Cornelius, who's sitting with Camille, and Naeem, who's sitting with Zadia. And I thought it was interesting because usually like their closest connections aren't the ones that eliminate them.
Right.
So I thought that was really interesting. And also both guys only had one connection. So that makes me like kind of confused as to what the point of the show is, because
me too.
If you have 10 people that you're connected with, I would say that you're not ready to love. But they put both of these guys in the bottom because they didn't have connections with other women this late in the game.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I agree. Like Aisha and I talked about that same thing last week. It's like they are both ready to love, more ready to love than everybody else on the show. Right. So why they have to refigure that, because it doesn't make any sense. Change the name of the show.
Right.
Ready to love at the end, you know? Because...
No, I think what happened was though, is that like when they were in their group talking, the women were, they felt like he wasn't ready to love because he dedicated himself only to one woman. And was it out of fear because she's so controlling, and he didn't open himself up? So they're like, is he really ready to love? And I think that's what they were getting at, was that he wasn't ready to love because he didn't open himself up to everybody else.
So it's really, was he ready to explore this whole process?
Right. And, yeah. And he let himself be browbeating. But when I'm shocked, and I know you're going to get to the conclusion of what was going on, so I'll hold my comments till then.
So Cornelius was the one that was not ready to love, so they let him go.
That was a shock.
That was shocked.
Yeah.
He was relieved.
He did. Well, yes.
Well,
and then Camille self-eliminated.
And then he was like,
yeah, which I thought he would have been, or he should have been happy the way they were going on. Yes.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that he said that his biggest regret is that he didn't connect with other women. Which is
not kicked off. He still wanted to be on the show. So I think he still has that connection with Camille, but I don't think he was ready to leave the show yet. And so he was probably like, damn, if I would have, connected more with the other girls, I'd still be on. And she's gun-ho. And
they're getting married and having kids by the reunion.
The what?
They're getting married and having kids by the reunion.
Nah, he told her to pace herself.
Yeah, girls should never say that to a man, like right away. It scares them away. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Can I say something really quick? I found while she was talking through the whole entire thing, I was fixated on his facial expressions. His facial expressions were hilarious. With his hands too. And I said, this guy does not want her. And it's like we said it the last time, Uchenna. When he's face to face with her, he's all in. But when he's in the confessional, he doesn't want to be in with her. He wants to explore other people. So that, to me, when the cameras are off and they're off the show, during the reunion, I bet you $1 million we're going to see that he went off and did his own thing.
Or he's still held captive by her. So
he's held prisoner. Right.
Yeah.
So Brown Girl Squad.
I didn't get a lot from the Naeem and Zadia conversation. I mean, she just told him that he was still ready to love, and that the biggest reason for him being in the bottom was him, again, not having connections with a lot of other women. And in his confession,
I like Naeem. I mean, he's quiet, reserved.
Yeah, but
he rocks those dashiki shirts all the time.
But so now we go, they're still on the trip.
Mhm.
And Phil sets aside some time to have a little date with Shiloh.
Phil, that's who's not ready to love, to tell you the honest truth.
He's not
He is not ready to love. He's the one that should have been kicked out.
Right.
No.
But the ladies love him.
I don't know why.
And for some of the ladies, he's their only connection. Well, I guess he's narrowed it down now to Shiloh and Sidney.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot. Did you mention that Camille is off the show too?
Yeah, she left.
Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So Shiloh has these love languages cards that has questions on it for them to ask each other. Mm-hmm. She told him that she wanted bigger gestures from him in public. And she told him that she chooses him.
Why do you think she said that? I want you to show bigger gestures in public. I'm not one for PDA, but
well, she's an intimacy coach, so I'm pretty sure that, she probably doesn't shy away from those things.
Right.
And she probably knows that he has, I'm not sure if she knows, but she may know that he has, other people that he's still exploring.
I think she knows because they all talk in their group sessions.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anyone mention it lately, and he hasn't said anything, which is something, we'll bring up later. But when she said she chooses him, he just gave her like a quick peck on the lips. Like there is no passion. There is no.
He did that to shut her up.
I don't know what to say. I'm gonna kiss you instead.
I know. He did that to shut her up and not to have to say, I choose you, or I have strong feelings for you, or anything like that.
He didn't say anything. And then she says that she was like, maybe he heard me and maybe he's gonna show me bigger gestures in public. I was like, how did you get that from that?
Me too. I
you know what? This is kind of like karma, because when the other guy, the engineer guy, chose her early, she didn't have nothing to say to him. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so now the same thing is happening to her.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she shouldn't be too upset because she did that to someone else. It's just that person doesn't have at that time the same feelings that you have. Mm-hmm. And, you just have to wait and see if it develops or decide to move on. And she's waiting to see.
Yeah. And Phil said in his confessional that he didn't want to commit to choosing her just yet.
Right.
He still wanted to explore things with Sidney, which he just started. What is it, like 2 episodes ago that he took her out on a date? Like you just started this with Sidney.
Right. Well, it's because, Sidney, what's her name? Sidney is like hot and sexy. So that's why he's like catching these feels for her, because
I don't really. I know last time I kind of like her, but I forget who said it. Just because you guys mentioned her name, it's going to come to my head. Her voice is irritating.
Yeah.
It's high and squeaky.
Yeah, it is. I think it was Naeem. Was it Naeem who said that?
I think he did say that.
Yeah. I mean, Sidney and Shiloh, besides their names first beginning with S, they're completely different people.
Oh, but they look alike. Kind of. Both have I have kinky coily hair and it's beautiful, but they both have what we call good hair, and they both wear it curly, kind of wavy, curly-ish. Then they're both light-skinned and both petite women.
Okay. But do you think that's Shiloh's hair? I don't think that's Shiloh's hair.
It does, but that's
I don't think it's either of their hairs.
Right.
But anybody could have that hair. I don't think that's
yeah, but I'm talking about their look. Their looks are similar. That's what I'm talking about. They both have the same type of hair. They're both light-skinned and petite women.
Right.
So so Phil has a type.
Okay. Well, anything else about that date?
I don't think so. It was bad. I would be completely.
No, I thought it was good. They cooked together. Well, they didn't cook together. He helped her take it out the oven. He tried to make it seem intimate in the beginning.
I mean, it would have been nice if he hadn't curved her with that little peck and didn't say anything about.
And not even a passionate kiss,
it was just, it was not good. I think I would have felt some way after that kiss like, I definitely wouldn't take from it that he's going to show me bigger gestures in public. I would just be like, oh, I don't think he's into me
as much as I'm into him. Yeah, definitely.
I don't think he's into me at all.
Oh, your
I
heart
was taking it. So the next date was Aisha and Dante. They're still, again, on the trip. And Dante set up a quick date with her. And, you know, he kind of touched base to see how she was feeling after the previous evening when they had like that, she had that big, you know, blow up with Zadia. He said he had caught her outside that morning, topless, sunbathing on the property.
I missed their date. How did I miss their date?
It was in the evening kind of night, and they were sitting on a bench outside, it looked like.
And so Aisha was topless sunbathing?
They didn't show
morning
that part,
she was meditate. No, yeah, we didn't see it, but she went out to meditate, I guess, that morning.
The camera should have been filming that.
You have to be topless when you meditate?
She said she didn't know anyone else was out there, but he caught her.
She knew the cameras was out there. Oh my goodness.
But no, the cameras weren't because they didn't show it.
Or maybe they didn't show it because she was, they would have showed her walking out. Maybe, but why do you have to be topless? I don't
Her
know.
breast must be nice.
Her what?
Her breast must be nice.
She may have had a boob job.
She's definitely had implants. But like, I don't understand why you're in a place where there's a bunch of people. So you're going out there knowing that someone might see you, or you want someone to see you, because that doesn't make any sense to me. You can meditate topless in your room, sit in front of the window if you want that sunlight hitting you, and do it there. So I think she wanted someone to see her, you know.
Well, luckily it was the right person.
Right. But isn't that creepy that he didn't say anything to her? And then
she was meditating and he didn't want to disturb her, more than likely. I wouldn't want to disturb somebody if I see them going, I wouldn't want to disturb them. I just imagine myself going outside into my front lawn, putting the mat down and squatting down and, you know, with my legs crossed. And I'd have to like press my hands together so that my breasts would sit up.
Hopefully he wasn't staring at her. Hopefully he just caught a bullet and he was like, ooh, like he's doing something. And
you know, he stopped staring. He was probably like, get it all in, get the camera out. Click. I'm sorry.
I thought it was interesting that he had to calm her down again because she got herself amped up about the fight with Zadia.
I missed that whole thing. Maybe I was fast forwarding too much and I skipped over the commercials. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
But yeah, he was just kind of asking her, you know, something, and she just kind of, at first it was fine. It was just like, yeah, things got out of hand. But then she was just like, yeah, she just baited me, and he was just like, whoa, let's not go back there.
Yeah, he's like, let's keep in the moment, in the moment.
So, and then he told her that he was extremely interested in progressing with her.
Okay. Yeah, you can tell they're into each other. She's been through like a bunch of different guys that she thought she had connections with. And then this guy, because it was Frank, and then it was someone else, and then now it's Dante. And I think this guy, Dante, is the one that she has the greatest connection with.
And I think it was good that they did start by like talking on the phone, so that it really developed that intimacy that, you know, wasn't based on just like physical attraction. So
and building that strong base.
Stronger. So our next date was Frank and Mumen. So now they're back in Washington, D.C. And he took her for a walk. Frank is clearly still feeling Sidney.
Right.
But he told Mumen that he wants to show more of him to her.
Right.
I think they make a good couple. They look good together.
They do. And I think once again, there's a huge difference between Sidney and Mumen. They're both young and attractive. but their personalities are both completely different.
And I think
Sidney
it was
is
his ex that said that. I think it was his ex that said that these are
right,
two different, completely different women.
Yeah.
So you need to choose what you're looking for.
What he's looking for, yeah. Sidney's more young and bubbly and have fun and party. And Mumen is also fun, but she's more like mature. Yeah, she's more grounded.
And she's celibate. And I think that's going to be a big thing, you know?
Yeah. But Mumen's makeup is a lot. Her makeup, I don't know if you guys noticed during that date, she had like a ton of makeup on and it was like discolored. Like she's beautiful, you know, I don't think she needs that much caked on makeup. You know, I think she just like a light cover up and then just the blush and whatever would be fine. But she has those layers upon layers. That
well, you know what it is? It's unfortunately, it's social media, Instagram. It makes people think that, yeah, we see people on social media with, you know, taking them hours and hours to do their makeup. She probably went and got her makeup done professionally because she was going to be on TV because her hair is always looking nice.
Yes.
As it should. Wigs are on point and so forth.
Right.
And she probably went and got her makeup done because she was going to shoot that day. And, you know, they did the usual layering stuff. But when you wear it on social media, it's different than when you're wearing it in real life. In real life, it's like, what you doing with the full face caked on, you know? You're not on the wards or anything like that.
Right. And the coloring is off.
Yeah.
And she doesn't, I don't think she needs it, but I mean,
I don't think she needs it either.
Well, on this walk, she tells Frank that she chooses him. I mean, she doesn't have any other connection.
So I was going to say.
Well, Walter, she had Walter, which she completely messed up. You know, I think she was just too mad about it, you know, and that turned him off. And I think he's too old for her. But women do like older men. So
how old is Walter?
He looks like he's 50. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's old. Doesn't he look old?
Yeah, he's in his 40s.
What?
I don't think anyone was in their 50s. I think he's in his 40s. She's 38, 36. I think she's
38.
Well, you know, him and her personality, something about it doesn't really click for me. And I don't think it was her walking away. I think he's just really into Sabrina. I think that whole I used to be a stripper thing is kind of enticing to him too.
Yes, I think so too.
Really? I thought he was kind of turned off. I will talk about it in the date, but
I think at first he was, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I really like about Frank is that he told her that he's still exploring his connection with Sidney. So unlike Phil, who just gives a peck and is like, you know, leaving Shiloh unsure of whether or not, you know, he feels the same way about her. He's just like, yes, I feel a strong connection with you, but I also have a connection with someone else that and I want to make sure that whoever I choose is the right one. So he's basically saying, I'm still exploring that connection, and she received it very well.
Yeah. I mean, that's because the only way
she's still exploring. No, she's still Mumei. Is there somebody else after Mumei?
Walter. But that she's not exploring. I mean, Frank is the only person now. Yeah.
I think she's confident enough in herself that she's just like, okay, you know. So why is it okay for him, Frank, to say he has two people, but for Walter to have two people, it wasn't okay?
I don't think it was the fact that he had two people. I think she felt like because remember she was at the piano and he was like basically just ignoring her like she wasn't there. So I think it was just the fact that I think she felt a way about how he treated her when he was in Sabrina's presence, where it made it seem like she was not really in the running, or she wasn't, you know, number one, I think.
Right. And I think men just have to be more open and honest with women.
Direct.
You know, if you're seeing other people, let that girl know and give her the opportunity to decide if she's going to stay or not stay. Instead of lying about it, making that person think that they're the only one in the picture when they're not. And I'm sorry, but most women will probably stay. So just be honest with her, and then you won't have that conflict and anger. And
under those circumstances where you're not exclusive, the premise of the show is that you're supposed to date other people. if the girl blows up because you're dating someone else, if you've never made her feel like she was the only person, then you probably know that that's not the right person for you because they're not emotionally mature. But if you're the whole time you've been communicating, you've been honest, like it shouldn't be a problem.
Right. And even outside of the show, like men need to just tell women what they're doing and be honest about it, and then leave it up to them to decide, okay, I'm still going to pursue him or I'm moving on. You know, so I think people will be much happier, including the men, because they don't have to lie and make things up all the time, and the women will know where they stand. You know, won't feel like they're being played.
Yeah, I agree.
And women too, they need to be honest too. You know, it goes both ways.
So now we go to the Dante and Zadia date. So I think at this point, Dante is just like, let me just kind of tie things up, see, you know, where I am with Zadia.
But he wasn't ready just to cut her off, right? I don't think that's what that was there for.
Because when he was on his date with Aisha in his confessional, he was just like, you know, he still has some things. He kind of made it seem like I'm feeling Aisha, but I just need to touch base with Zadia. So I think like there could have, if she had acted correctly, maybe there could have been a point where they could have reconciled or, you know, something.
I don't think so. I think him and I think Dante and Aisha had locked up, and I mean their relationship was as firm as it's going to get with the show. I think he was just going to Zadia for closure, to close things off. That's how I felt. That's what they were going. That's how I felt. That's what he was going to do, was for closure, because the way that she acted during the show, and this is just for women in general, when you act ignorant and loud and so forth, it is such a turnoff for a man that knows himself. If you're still a boy and you're into wild and so forth, it's fine. But for these men that are professional and so forth, it's such a turnoff. And Zadia showed herself, you know, at that dinner, acting up and so forth. And I think that was a major turnoff for him. And that's when and if you think about it, he brought the massage table, the oil, the silk outfit, all for Zadia.
I mean, for Aisha.
So to me, that meeting with her, from what I heard when he was in the confessional, was a closure.
And he brought it for Aisha. I think he just brought it.
Somebody chose Aisha though to do it with her and not Zadia. So I said he chose to do that.
Well, yeah, because it was after that evening. But I think maybe if that hadn't gone that way, it probably would have been up in the air.
No, I didn't think so. I think for him, Aisha was his choice. And I think whatever sealed it, he could have been there for both of them. He was there for both of them. But after that whole episode, I think it sealed it for him.
What episode?
You mean
at the dinner table?
At the dinner, yeah. The episode at the dinner table. I think that's what sealed it for him, because he went into protective mode for Aisha. Not for Zadia. And
I still feel like it was a little, because he had been on dates with Zadia. I feel like he was trying to see if there was still something there. Just in the way he was wording what he was going there to do. He didn't say it was for closure or to let Zadia know that he didn't want to pursue her anymore. And then during the date with Zadia, or I'm not gonna call it a date, the meeting with Zadia, he basically said that I felt like I wasn't number one. So that tells me that he was probably more interested in her, but he felt like she had already chosen Naeem.
I think he's making up excuses, because no one's number one at this point. Like, people are still figuring out. He's still figuring out. Like, he didn't say that she was his number one. I think he went into the house dates, or the house, the vacation, as Nadia being number one. But by the end of it, it was obvious that Aisha was number one. Even the way that they were acting when they were making breakfast. You know, I think he was like really into her. He wasn't paying that much attention to Zadia, even at that point. We never saw them.
I think Zadia knew too, and that's what made her so angry.
Kudos to him for keeping his composure and not reacting in any type of way. Because you have to
that would
remember,
have popped out.
yeah, he's a deputy superintendent at the school system. So he couldn't act up anyway, or else that would have been it for his job. So he's been carrying himself very well. And it's good that he didn't let her take him out of himself, you know?
Right. But you know, that's the other thing on these shows. Like everybody that, even this show that we're doing here, sometimes I have to reel myself back in, because what about if we get super big and then people from my workplace get to see me acting all ignorant and so forth? They're like, whoa, IJ. But you know, I wonder what the women at his work are talking about when he was doing the massages and so forth, you know?
Yeah.
And he's showing up with his chest all open and out.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. And I was like, ooh, people at your work, what are they gonna think?
Right.
But yeah.
But Zadia must have had like strong feelings for him.
Oh, she did.
She got
obviously.
so upset. She walked away and then came back
and to act even more ignorant. I was just like, lady, if you don't get yourself off this TV, because you look horrendous.
The first question I have is that she felt like he should have told her that he gave Aisha a massage before she went into the elimination.
I don't owe you anything.
Do you agree that he should have said anything to her about it?
I don't think he had to tell her about the massage, but I think he needed to tell her that, you know, I had deep feelings for Aisha, you know.
But they already knew that. She already knew it was between her and Aisha.
I don't think he knew that because he really had a date with Aisha. They were only talking on the phone.
Yeah, I don't think she knew until they got to the house and she saw all that time that he was spending with Aisha. I think that's when she knew that there was something going up with them.
Maybe that's why she was so upset.
But again, she also had a connection with someone else.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense. For one, I didn't see that she was really invested in either guy. Like, I don't know if it was just her attitude, because I don't really like her attitude. Like when she went out on the dates to meet their exes, like she just had a really nasty attitude. And maybe that makes me, maybe from that, I can't tell who she really had a connection with. Because it just kind of seemed like, well, I'm just here. They invited me on this date and, you know, so I'm going to be here. But so, yeah, I think for that reason, I think maybe he didn't also know that she was really into him, because I don't think she showed it. So why would he feel like he needed to tell her that if he didn't think that he was her number one, or that, you know, that they had that strong of a bond? I don't know.
Yeah. She does have like an attitude problem. She's always getting upset. She's always being mean, you know, and in the beginning, she wasn't like that. I thought that she was more calm and mature, but as the season progressed, you saw how mean and like a little bit out of control she was. So yeah.
It's like she's off-putting. She has such a wall. Like before, I've never seen somebody, like people said, oh, they had a wall about her, or he had a wall up. No, she has like a brick stone metal wall up, because yeah, I don't think she's even been vulnerable with anybody, has she?
I don't think so. Yeah,
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Like, do we even know if she wants kids, or I don't think we know that.
All we know is that she's into fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a hard fitness coach, that's for sure.
That's what you need, I guess. But yeah, so when she did come back, she like put her hand, she was all in his face. She
was touching his nose.
Yeah.
She's lucky he didn't go like that, right?
Well, I mean, to be so bold as to get in a guy's face like that and tapping on his nose, just imagine if the cameras aren't there, they're at home, and then they get into an argument, you know she's going to be going crazy. You just know it, because if she's doing that in that setting, you know, at home, it could be off the wall. So he has to take that into consideration too.
He would be. And did you see how she was cursing on camera?
I really didn't like how she called Aisha dumb. Like, what? Why?
Because
Right.
because it's a self-protection thing. You know how it is when you get mad at somebody. Oh, you dumb little bitch. Yeah,
But
she's
Aisha didn't do anything to her. So
it
why
doesn't
talk about
matter. Aisha got her man. Aisha got the
Right.
man that she wanted, and
Right.
that's what women do. That's what people
immature?
do.
That's so immature.
It is immature. And well, he can go ahead with that little bit. Then that's what he gets. That he can have her. That's just a typical thing we see when people don't get their way, when they don't get what they want. If it's somebody else, they start, downgrading that other person to
Right.
make themselves feel like,
Feel
oh,
better.
you missed out on me. You missed out on the real catch,
Mhm.
But what I didn't like most of all was not just her lack of control, but her verbiage was so bad. MF this and da da da. Imagine if she was at home, she would be calling her significant other out his name constantly.
Mhm.
And I think things would escalate really quick,
Mhm.
where the
Okay.
police would be in there.
Mm.
I can't imagine her in a relationship.
Right. Yeah, I know.
So why is this acceptable? It's not acceptable, but for her behavior, which is worse, her behavior here or the behavior from Married at First Sight when that girl, what's her name again, lost control.
Her behavior is much more acceptable than Michaela's. Michaela went batshit crazy. This girl is just mad. No, you cannot compare.
But she's in somebody.
No, so what? So what? No, you can't compare it.
All right,
No.
all right. All right.
Okay, so our next date is Walter and Sabrina. This one to me kind of seemed brief. Yeah, it was boring.
I don't even remember it.
I thought it was so dumb when they were like, "Oh, we're both wearing black. Like we are just the same person. Look at us, we're both wearing black. Black is like the most basic color. When you're going out on a date, that's probably the color you're gonna pick because you're gonna look cooler in it." So,
right.
What?
I know. It's like if that's what you guys are connecting
over.
Wrong.
Yeah. And
you think they slept together?
Huh?
I don't think so.
No.
You said
You're just
what?
saying that because she used to be a stripper, IJ.
I said,
what happened?
IJ asked, do you think that they slept together?
I do, because remember when she said he knows where home is? I think they have. Before the trip. Yeah.
Oh.
I think so.
She's lost weight since the beginning of the show. She's slimmed down.
I don't think she's pretty. I mean, that maybe that doesn't matter, but she just looks funny to me.
I think she's pretty. I think she's attractive.
She looks old. Well, how old is she?
I don't know, but she does. I agree. She does look older than what her age is.
But what I thought was interesting is that he said she looked like she used to be a madam. Now he knows that she used to be a stripper, but why did he say a madam?
That means you're old.
No, isn't a madam like the charge of a whorehouse?
Yeah, and they're usually old.
Well, I don't think he's meaning old. I think like she's like the one that was
charge.
The boss, the charge.
And why would you call me madam? Why wouldn't you say you look like you're a boss? Like a madam is a whorehouse, like you said, in charge of a whorehouse, not a strip joint. I would be insulted.
No, strip joint, whorehouse, almost the same.
It's not the
same. They're not the same. That's right. They're not stripping.
It's just prostitution and
yeah, the whorehouse.
Those are two completely different things. So he basically said, you look like you're in charge of prostitutes or a prostitute yourself.
Yeah.
Which
that was weird.
Walter, but I don't think he really meant it. I think he meant that she's a boss bitch.
Yeah,
that's she sees that she would be a boss bitch. But because of her past, he put the two together, and that's where it came from.
That's an insult.
But she didn't take it as an insult.
Think before you speak. Words mean things. So make sure you're using the right words before they come out your mouth.
Yeah. But was she upset about it?
She wasn't. I mean, she went in to explain how she got into stripping. So maybe that connected them a little more. But he did seem like he was a little weary about her being a stripper. He mentions it later in the episode, but I think he's definitely interested.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything else about them?
No.
And so they're each other's only connections as well. So yeah, Walter and Sidney, Dante and Zadia. They're each other's only connections.
Right.
And then our last day of the evening is Phil and Sidney.
Her outfit was ferocious. I thought she looked
ferocious.
I thought she looked so like, I mean, I thought it looked gross to me. I'm sorry to say that, but I did not like that dress.
I can't remember what her outfit was. What was it?
It was like some green, like one shoulder strap thing, super tight, like short right to her
crotch area.
Yeah, I mean, and it was tight and showed like everything, and it was just cheap looking. I thought it was horrendous.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Let me be honest, though. Y'all know I'm gonna go out and spend my money on some seriously cute outfits. I will hire a hairdresser to be before every episode to do my hair and a makeup person.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Phil seems to be from this date. I got that Phil was Sidney's top. So Sidney has a connection with Frank and Phil. We didn't see her and Frank together this episode, but it kind of felt like Phil was her top. Like she was really trying to pull him in. I think she's more like physically attracted to him. I don't know. That's what I got from their date.
Yeah, I got that too. Can I ask you guys a question that I've been wanting to ask? Should you go on this show or even in real life and go for what you want or what you need?
I mean, I guess it depends on what stage in life you are. If you're young, then you should just go for what you want. If you're older and want to, really have a relationship with someone and build something for the future, then you should go with what you need, as long as, their wants are in there too. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I thought the show was for them to find love, not just someone to date. I don't know, but they don't provide them with any counseling or anything or any guidance on who to select, really. So
that's what I was wondering. I said that's a good point you bring. There's no guidance, there's no counseling or anything.
A lot of people I don't think they really know what they need. They just kind of, unless they've been in like other serious relationships and things like that and had the time to like assess, I think people just mostly go for what they want initially. And then through that process, if the person that you want is not what you need, that's when you come to learn a little more about what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he told her that he wants to get to know her better. She said actions speak louder than words, which meant apparently to kiss me. She asked him if he needed to wet his whistle.
This was really good.
And he kissed her, but it wasn't a Shiloh kiss.
No, it definitely wasn't. Like Sidney's sexy, And so I think, and she's younger, and I think he gets that vibe from her. Whereas, Shiloh is more reserved. And so, if he wants to still have fun and party, that's who Sidney is. And he says that they have deep conversations and stuff like that.
He said that with who?
He said that about Sidney.
No, that was one of the points that I had, is that he hasn't had any kind of deep conversation with her.
At the scene when all the men are together, when they were deciding who they were going to send home, he had mentioned that he has deep conversations with Sidney, which
remember, people, first of all, I know I was looking down. I had to go look at the outfit really quick. I agree.
Right.
But remember, we don't get to hear their phone conversations, and we don't get to see all of their conversations.
I just feel like production should have put in at least one deep conversation. No, okay, you know what though? Maybe he meant that he because he talked about his mom on the date. So maybe he's saying that he is, speaking to her about deep things, because she hadn't said one deep thing this whole season, I don't think.
Right.
No, what she said this whole season is that's worth anything.
Huh?
No.
I said, I don't know what she said this season that's worth anything. I don't know. Yeah, I used to like her a lot. Not a lot, but not a lot. But remember I said that she was cute after that one date with Phil? And then we went on one date too. How are these people making all these great connections with one date?
I think texting, phone calls. I think that's how most of them, because they're all working. They're still working.
Yeah.
So I think like normally you would text, call, go, and plus you're dating multiple people. So it's not like you can just have dates with that one person. So you use texting and phone calls to really establish.
So, do you like the show better now, or do you like it when they're at the retreat when we first watched it?
I liked it when they were at the resort. I mean, just them all being in the same space. I did like it better that way.
I did too. But I actually like those people better too. These people I haven't really connected with at all. Just
that's true, yeah. Last night I was watching an interview with Kojo from Little Black Book, and Sean, remember Sean? He was the one that came in the middle of the season with. And so he was kind of talking about kind of production, and he was like, they're filming all of this in like a couple weeks, and they're making it seem like it's spread out. So
shut up.
That's what he said.
Wow. So you really can't build a connection if it's just a couple of weeks, because it makes it seem like it's each week. Each deliberation is a full week.
Yeah.
So how are you even like? No, there's no way. There's no way. This has to be like
he came late.
Yeah, he came in the middle of the season.
Yeah, to me, I was thinking this is a 6-8 week episode. This thing.
He said that they make it seem like it's like a couple of months, but he said it's just a matter of weeks.
We gotta find out. Can someone let us know? People, everyone, can we do some research? Everyone who's watched our followers, and let's do a deep dive and find out if this is true. Because if it is, the whole premise of the show is false.
Yeah, right. You can't really get that deep of a connection in that little bit of time.
Yeah.
No, and you're meeting people's families and stuff, and people's friends.
Yeah.
So you're knowing this ahead of time. At the beginning of the show, this is a premise. This is what's going on. We're going to need you to have 2 friends that we can, bring
contact right away.
And So it's back to back. So how am I supposed to fall in love?
Right. And maybe that's why no one really lasts. The couples never really last on this show.
True.
Camille, you claimed your man in 2 weeks and acting like you're about to get married.
But so that was the end of that date. And then we're back in the gentleman's lounge, I think.
Why do they have a better area than the girls? The girls are at some rinky-dink restaurant. These guys get these special lounges,
DR, you be bringing in the gossip, the little tidbits that make you go,
It came on after that interview came on after I finished watching the episode last night. So I was like, let's see about this. He seemed very defensive because, remember everyone was like, does he have a job? And so, it was interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing, but so we're back at the gentleman's lounge. We're talking about, who our connections are and who we think should be in the bottom.
Right.
They decide to bring up, the fight between Zadia and
Dante.
Aisha.
Aisha. Okay, yeah.
Initially, and that's when Frank was just giving
he's getting deep. It's go Frank.
He was like, yeah, I mean, they call themselves the Brown Girls Club, and so he brought that up, and then Dante brought up the fact that on his date with Zadia, she kind of poked him in his nose and got kind of aggressive. And, the guys were just to Naeem, because Tommy asked Naeem, like, what do you think about this? This is the person you have a connection with. Does this bother you? He's like, no, she never did that.
I was like, you know damn well it does.
Yeah, he was just defending her, you know.
To stay on the show.
Well, I don't think that's it.
Okay, he wasn't desperate to stay on the show.
I think he really likes her, and he was like, you know, trying to defend her, knowing that what he was saying wasn't right. But he was still trying to defend her, because it was a huge turnoff for all the other guys. They're like, whoa.
Well, and then the main point, which I think what Tommy ended up bringing up, is that clearly if she's acting this way because he didn't choose her, you weren't her first choice.
Amen.
And maybe not even really a second, because you know, otherwise she would just be like, well, I still have Naeem, you know, and so that in itself should have told him that she didn't really want you like that, unless he thought like, if I had more time with her now that he's out the picture, I could make that connection stronger. Maybe that's what he was thinking. But
and even Tommy was like, this isn't raising any red flags for you, any flags for you, and he was just like, no, you know.
And that's the thing, because that's not the first time Tommy has told a guy, like, you know, tried to tell a guy, hey, you need to watch out, because he did the same thing with Cornelius about Camille.
Yes.
And it's just like, guys, I think you need to listen and look, open up your eyes.
Yeah, but you know, when you're in the moment and looking from the outside in, you can see this stuff, but when you're in the moment, sometimes it's hard to see.
Right.
I think, I mean, I don't know. I think that's harder for women. I think men are usually like, they see those things. They see things that they're not attracted to, and they make decisions pretty quickly, you know, based on that. So maybe it's because both of those guys only had one connection. So they knew that if that person left, then they were gone too. Maybe that's why. But
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about something at the end, but we still have to go through the eliminations.
So our bottom two girls were Zadia and who was the other one?
Naeem. And Mumen.
Mumen,
yeah.
And so Walter took Mumen out.
Which I thought was weird. But.
Well, she thought it was a real date. Because she was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to tell him that it's over. I don't care what he says. I'm telling him that it's over. And so she thought it was like a date, a catch-up date. She had no clue until the end when he said the guys and I, and she's like, oh, you know. So
I didn't catch that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what he told her, I think that what she said to him was true. Like, you haven't contacted me since the retreat. Like, so what's going on? Why did you just brush me off? And he really couldn't be honest. And he kind of like put the onus of their breakup on her, because she got up and walked away, when he couldn't have been honest and said, listen, you know, at that time, yes, I was feeling Sabrina, and it did feel awkward for me, you being there. If he would have just said that, then she wouldn't have been so upset. She wouldn't have got up and she wouldn't have walked away, you know, which she shouldn't have done. She should have just sat there and talked it through with him. But I mean, he has to take some, you know, ownership for his actions too, you know.
Now that you guys have told me the show is only a couple of weeks, and I'm just like,
well, we don't know if that's true. That's what Sean said.
Yeah. I was like, what 2 days passed and he hasn't contacted you and you get upset?
But that does bring up like a topic that, like, so ghosting. At what point, like, what's the criteria for ghosting? When are you expected to tell someone, hey, I'm no longer interested? Or when can you just stop communicating with them and they're expected to know?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know, I mean, I guess I feel like, okay, yeah, we're like, what, 10 episodes into this. So if you had a connection up until episode 9 with someone, I do think you need to have like a formal, like, hey, you know, we had something, but I didn't like how things went at the retreat, and I'm really going to focus my energy on this one person and not you anymore. Like, I think maybe that's warranted at this point, but at what point is it okay to just like, I'm I'm not feeling that person, like I'm not going to talk to them anymore.
Like you said, after you had that conversation with them, then you can ghost them.
No, I mean, before that, like, I mean, do you always have to, like, if you just went out on one date with someone or you just talked to someone one time, do you have to say that, or can you just?
I think you can just stop replying.
Yeah, and would that be considered ghosting?
I don't think so. If you don't have like a relationship.
Why can't you just say, I'm not really interested?
Yeah.
Why can't you just text back and say, I'm not really interested. I think we should move on to other things.
If they reach out to you, but what if they don't reach out to you either? Like,
then bye. We don't need to converse.
I just heard a lot of like, you know, like ghosting and then like several people in this episode, this show, have talked about the person not like reaching out to them anymore when it seems like they focus their energy more to another person, because Zadia said the same thing about Dante. So I was just like, I wonder at what point do you have to have that conversation with someone?
Right.
But yeah, so Walter and Mumen talked, and who was the other person that Zadia? Who did Zadia go out with?
With what's his name?
Dante. Was it Dante?
Not Dante. No. Naeem. Yeah, it was Naeem.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Well,
she wasn't surprised.
Huh?
She wasn't surprised, but she did take ownership for her action. You know, how she was acting. She was like, yes, what I did was not right, you know, and then she tried to say it was like a stern school mother tapping. Nah, that wasn't. But that's, you don't touch people. But she did say that I reacted in the wrong way. And I think she knew it was coming. She knew that the other guys wouldn't accept that, and that was her time to go.
Yeah, so she was eliminated. And then, of course, we get another elimination. Naeem self-eliminates because that was his only connection, which I think is appropriate. Because what are you gonna do now? Like, it's too late in the game for you to do anything.
Right.
Like, it's only appropriate for you to self-eliminate.
And I liked how he went and he talked to Tommy about it. You know, they have a lot of respect for Tommy. So I thought it was good the way that he talked to him about it instead of just leaving the show. He was like, you know, what do I do at this point? And then Tommy broke it down to him and said, like, she's really not that into you, you know? And so I think he was like, yeah, you're right. It's time for me to go. Yeah.
So it was a good episode overall.
It was good. And then next week we get to meet the parents. And then we see that Mumen is African, you know? So, and then he, is it Phil or Frank? Frank gets to meet the father. So it'll be good next week. Next week will be good. And then some drama happens with Phil and Shiloh. So I'm interested to see if that's real drama, or is it just like, you know, editing to make us think that there's drama, you know? Good. It's a good episode.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'd like to see your comments about our review and just your thoughts about the show. So please leave a comment below. We'll get back to you. Don't forget to like our channel, subscribe to our page, hit the notification bell so you can be informed of our new videos. And again, follow us on Instagram at The Real on the Real.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.